Cyber Reapers. Hello, Cyber Reapers. So, tonight or today, whenever, wherever you are, I'm going to be talking about a lovely book that I was recommended, and I absolutely loved it, so I'm really pleased to talk about it. But first, a couple of things. Just one, I wanted to briefly shout out, since this is one of my social media platforms, that I have a book coming out in July, and so if you're interested in a young adult science fiction thriller, then check out the links below to see about ARC reading for it or pre-ordering it. And that's all I'll say about that. And then another thing, actually first I wanted to mention as well, I'm not holding the microphone this week. I'm so glad that I have a substitute table with me. It still is something I have to be a little more careful with because it's less balanced than my usual setup. But it's a lot better than me holding it, so maybe I'll redo the Iron Widow one or the Iron Widow video from last week if there's enough demand for that, or I might just read it or do it again in the future after rereading it again, because it is one of my favorite books. Might as well, But for right now, I'm going to talk about a different book called In the Vanishers Palace by Aliette De Bodard. And I, this week, learned a kind of a relaxing technique from my therapist, and I was wondering if you'd want to be guided in that similar way that my therapist taught me to kind of relax myself at the beginning of this video, because I struggle with just feeling anxious all the time, to the point where I'm not really sure what it's like to live without anxiety, if I'm being honest. Because I always feel like I have to be on the lookout, looking around, making sure I'm safe, making sure that I'm getting work done, being productive. I have to do something for at least 2 to 3 or 4 reasons. And if I don't have at least 2, 3, 4 reasons to do something, then I'll neglect that, including, like, say, my hygiene, that kind of a thing. So I could really use some calming, and so I asked my therapist about something I could just kind of memorize to get myself in a state of calm. And I thought, especially since this book I feel like it kind of goes with this book, this calming, almost sort of meditation-y state that my therapist helped me get into. Kind of pairs well with talking about this book, and it's just because the book has a very dizzying setting for the main character, so I don't know, maybe the main character could use some calming techniques, who's to say. So if you'd like to skip this part, though, that's perfectly fine. I'll put a timestamp here for when I start officially talking about the book. But if you'd like me to just kind of get you into maybe a more relaxed state before then feel free to keep listening. Now, I would like you to find a place where you can sit for a little while or lie down and just feel comfortable being there for a bit and not necessarily feeling like you need to move. So allow yourself to just be in a position where you can easily rest. And if you'd like to close your eyes, then find a place where you feel like you can close your eyes. But you also don't have to close your eyes for this. It's just a suggestion. So, once you are lying down or sitting in that place of rest, I would like you to either close your eyes or stare forward. But as you stare forward at wherever you're looking ahead of you, I would like you to stare with kind of a soft gaze. Just allow your eyes to sort of glaze over and just stare loosely at the space ahead of you. So, once you're there, either with your eyes closed or your gaze soft, I would like you to focus on your breath. So, inhale and slowly exhale. And you can inhale and exhale either through your nose or mouth or both. Either, it's up to you. It'll work either way. You don't need to worry, just focus on keeping your breath as slow as you feel like you can make it. So breathing in and breathing out. Just allowing your breath to be what you focus on. Your breath. You don't need to focus on anything else. You don't have any other priorities right now. You are here in this moment. You don't have any other responsibilities to get to. You can just enjoy simply being, and simply being here. You are important. You are loved. You are amazing. And taking this time for yourself to be able to calm your mind and calm your body, to relax yourself, is good for you. And you deserve it. You deserve that time to yourself. Okay? And this breath, this really good breath, is healing. Every time you breathe in and breathe out, you heal your body just a little bit more. All that tension that is held within you, it's being released just bit by bit as you breathe in and breathe out. So, as you lie there and you're breathing in and breathing out, I would like you to allow me to guide you through relaxing your entire body. I will ask you to focus on a part of you at a time and just allow the tension to release from each part as I guide you through this. And during this time, feel free to keep focusing on that gentle inhale and exhale, while also just taking gentle note of how your body feels, in particular, each part as I guide you through it. Alright? So allow yourself a few more breaths, okay? Of inhaling and exhaling. Alright? Okay. Inhale and exhale. Alright, one more before I guide you through, okay? Inhale and exhale. And you don't need to follow my exact breaths. You can go at your own pace, your own speed. There's no wrong that you can do here, okay? There is no wrong. You are doing so well. Now, I would like you to focus on your toes for a moment. Is there any tension in your toes? And if so, just allow that tension to just flow out of you a little bit. It's like there's this wave that is approaching from the tips of your toes and just moving up a little bit through your feet, from your toes to your ankles. And this wave, it's gentle, it's kind, it's soothing out all the tension that is in your feet. It's allowing you to let go, to relax your feet, to allow them to just be, to not be tethered to any sort of tension or pain or aggravation. Allow all of that to be let go. And now imagine this gentle wave that's going up from your feet, up your legs, through your calves, just gently allowing your calves to relax, to rest, to be. And that wave is now going up to your kneecaps. Your knees are now relaxing. It's all just flowing out of you, all the tension in your lower legs is just flowing out of you. And those calm breaths help. Those slow, calm breaths are healing you, just as this wave is as it goes up your legs. This gentle wave now going up your thighs, just soothing you. And you're letting go of that tension that may be in your legs. Just letting go. Letting go. And that tension is replaced with relaxation all up your legs. It almost feels like your legs are weighed down softly, just lying there, being totally relaxed. And then that wave, it moves up your body, up past your hips, into your stomach, all that region. All the tension is flowing from there, flowing out of you, flowing out, and in its wake, leaving behind relaxation. So much of you is now relaxed. And with those calming breaths, the wave is encouraged upward, up your chest, up your back. And now, everything from your skin to your lungs to your heart, everything there, all of it relaxes. The tension loosens. You do not need to hold any tension there, in your chest or in your back. You can allow yourself to relax. There are no worries here. You can't do any wrong here. You just relax. And then that wave of calm moves up even further up to your shoulders. And now your shoulders shoulders, they relax too. They sink. Now most of your body feels just a little bit heavier as it sits or lies down wherever you are. And then this wave, it even goes up your neck. But you are safe. This wave will not harm you. You are safe. You are calm. And that tension that you might have held in your shoulders or in your neck, you're allowing it to flow out of you. You can take note of wherever the tension was, but then allow yourself to just let it go. And then as this wave moves up your face, your features begin to relax, your jaw relaxes. The tension that could be in your forehead relaxes. You don't need to carry so much of your emotions in your face right now. You can just allow yourself to be as you are right now in this moment. To be calm, to be present. To breathe. Just allow yourself to be. And allow yourself to enjoy this state of calm. And now that this wave has reached your head, it's now going to flow back down your shoulders and down your arms. It reaches your elbows, your forearms, allowing just all of your arms to relax, to lie limp, to be, and the tension releases from your arms. And then it reaches your hands, your fingers. This wave just coats all of you. And the tension, it flows out of your fingers. Imagine like little rivers coming from each of your fingertips. This tension flows out of you like rivers as you let it go. All of the tension from all of your body flows out of your fingertips, and you let go. You let go, leaving yourself feeling very present and very relaxed. Now sit and enjoy this state for a little while, this state of being tension-free, of allowing yourself this time to be here. And now, I'd like you to imagine, either way if your eyes are closed, or if your eyes are open, and either way your face is slack. The tension has left. You do not need to hold tension in your face, in your eyes, in your eyebrows, in your jaw. But you also don't need to yourself if you find that some of the tension returns. If you feel it somewhere, allow yourself to just let it go, without judgment, without questioning. If it lingers, allow it to leave. Allow it to leave through your fingertips. And now imagine that you are lying on a towel at the beach. If you enjoy the sounds of chatter of people around you, then imagine you hear chatter of people. But if not, if you'd prefer solitude, then you are there by yourself with only the sound of waves around you. Imagine the people there, or perhaps the pets, whoever you feel most safe around. They are there, and it's okay. They are watching the area. You are safe. You do not need to worry about watching to be sure that the area is safe. Because as you lie on that towel at the beach, you can just relax in that moment. And allow the sounds of the waves to be your focus as the waves just roll and roll and roll over each other. The way that they climb onto the beach, onto the sand, and recede. And they climb again, and they recede again, much like your breath. The waves climb again, and recede. They climb and recede. And now, imagine you look up at that sky. You are still on that beach. You look up at the sky, and you see that there are clouds. Many, many clouds covering up that bright sun. But then you notice these clouds, they slowly and slowly become one. And this cloud you keep watching, it lowers itself, getting closer and closer to you. But you can tell that this cloud is safe. You can tell that this cloud is here to help. And the cloud, it gently surrounds you like a misty fog, just gently surrounding you, here to help. And now that the tension has been largely removed from inside your body, the cloud is just here to offer a little extra support, to gently massage your muscles, anything that's felt overworked, perhaps your legs or in your arms or your back. Anything that's just felt like it has a little extra tension because you've just been working so hard recently on whatever it is that you've been doing. And so the cloud is here to just gently cover you and massage wherever you need it most, perhaps your shoulders or your back. wherever you need it, that cloud is just undoing the knots remaining in your body, just allowing you to go into an even deeper form of relaxation. It moves with your breath, in time with your inhales and exhales. It's a kind cloud, here to remind you that you are safe and that you can take time for yourself to relax and to be. And while you are in this state, I'd like to remind you of just some messages to keep in mind, some reminders that you are loved, that you matter, that you are important, that your passions are important, that taking time for yourself is important, that you deserve love, that you deserve so much out of life, that you deserve happiness, and to be cared for, and to allow your care for others and for other things to be seen. You are important. You do matter. And as you continue to breathe, these words are passed on to you through the cloud massaging your skin. They are imprinted in you, into your mind, so that you can recall these later, these messages of just how important you are. So that whenever you need it, you can remember. And you can remind yourself as many times as you'd like that you matter and that taking time for yourself is important. You are valued. You are valuable. Allow yourself to focus on your breath. As the cloud finishes massaging you, and all the tension that was left in you flows out of your fingertips, or if it's easier, from out of your feet, or perhaps both. Just feeling all of that tension release. And relaxation to replace it. And now, I'm going to count from 5 to 1, and during that time, you are going to become increasingly aware of your environment. 5. Allow yourself to listen to the sounds around you beyond your breath. Perhaps there's the sound of air conditioning or someone further away, or music. 4. Allow yourself to remember where you are. What room are you in? What is it like? What is your favorite thing about this room? 3. Allow yourself to take notice of where you're sitting or lying down. What do you feel? What are your legs pressed against? Is it a bed or a chair? What about your arms? 2. Allow yourself to again focus on your breath, but while still keeping your environment in your periphery. To allow your focus to be loose and possibly a little divided. Now 1. If your eyes were closed, I'd like you to allow yourself to blink them open at your own pace, if you'd like. Slowly. Or if you would like them to be closed for the rest of this video, that's perfectly fine too. And if your eyes have been open during this time, then allow yourself to return from that soft gaze and look around the room, look around your environment. To root yourself in where you are now. And either way, to recognize how you feel right now. How does your body feel? Are there certain parts of your body that feel different than usual? How does this feel? How you feel right now? And allow your breaths to be however you want them to be. If you'd like them to stay the same pace or not, that's up to you. Okay. So that concludes the guiding section. I hope that felt good to you, because that really helped me quite a bit whenever my therapist guided me through essentially that. It was, or at least I touched on all the things that I remembered, so I hope that I did it in such a way that was helpful to you. I might even listen to it myself a few times to help me, so that I don't have to think it through each time I do it. But I've already done it once or twice since my therapist guided me through it, and it's been really helpful. I used it after I woke up from a bad dream at one point this past week, and that was very helpful for grounding me and making me feel a lot better about going back to sleep. So, yeah. And I think it might have taken a little longer than I expected it to, so I think I am still going to include it in this video. It maybe sounds silly to you now that I'm saying it, and it's obviously uploaded by the time you're hearing me say this, but as I'm considering it now, this video is already longer, or taking up more time than I meant it to, but I think it is well worth it, and I'm not sure. We'll see if by popular demand I might do this again for another video, or just make it its own video depending on what people prefer. So, yeah. Alright, so now that you are in a very calm headspace, and I am too, actually, as I was saying all of the words, I was noticing my vision getting soft and blurry, and I was going, oh no, wait, I gotta focus so that I can help. I have to be the voice, so, but I do feel relaxed now, so in a good position now, I think, to talk about the book that I was gonna bring to your attention today. I'll put the cover here. It's called In the Vanishers Palace by Aliette De Bodard. At least I hope pronouncing that correctly. I heard her name in an interview, and so that's, from what I remember, how to pronounce Aliette De Bodard. And I didn't intentionally pick two books in a row where the characters' names, I didn't know how to pronounce them. But I did end up picking two books in a row where the characters' names, I don't know how to pronounce them. For the previous video for Iron Widow, I was able to find the author pronouncing the character names. I was not able to here in this case, but I did look up Vietnamese pronunciation for the names of the main characters I'll be talking about, and so I hope that I'm saying it correctly. I don't have any Vietnamese friends to ask, so if I say it wrong, please feel free to comment and let me know, as best as you can, the correct pronunciation for the characters' names. Because it's a really amazing story, and I want to be able to talk about it without, saying the names wrong. So yeah, this book. Alright, this book. It's a fantasy book that is set in the future. So the world is as for the premise, it's been through some things. Most people are used to rotten food and just not having a great political system where, the elders of whatever village you're in, the elders decide everything, and if they don't like you, or if they don't find a use for you, if you are not useful enough to the village, then good luck. So that is the case for the main character, Yin. I'll put the name spelling here. So Yin, she is a scholar, but she didn't pass the major test thing for scholars to be able to go find better prospects outside the village that she's in. So really she just teaches the kids that are there, and she helps her mother. Her mother is a healer, a medic for the village, so her mother is fairly useful to the village, but according to the elders, Yin is not really all that useful. So that's unfortunate because, unfortunate in some senses, because whenever the daughter of one of the village elders, one of the prominent people, a daughter of a prominent person, she falls ill to a kind of spiritual curse kind of illness. And a lot of people end up getting these spiritual illness curse things that have a lot of different symptoms and a lot of different effects that are it's really neat to read through the different effects it can have on a person. But for the case of this person, they were just having essentially kind of part of their life force drained away. So, and there wasn't really anything that Yin's mother could humanly do. So she summoned a dragon healer to come in and heal the daughter of the prominent person. But the thing is, if you summon a dragon, there's consequences. There's kind of the consequence of equivalent exchange, a life for a life kind of a thing, usually. So the dragon comes in and heals the daughter of the prominent person, but then the village elders offer Yin as an exchange. So, and Yin's mother wouldn't have liked that, but she didn't know until like the last minute, or actually after Yin had been taken. But yeah, Yin was offered up by the village elders, and the dragon took Yin away to the dragon's palace. So that is our start. And as a heads up, this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. A sapphic retelling, mind you. So, you guessed it, the dragon and Yin are the two love interests. So, the dragon, her name is Fukon, and I'll put the name here in text. So, Fukon brings Yin back to her underwater spiritual dragon palace place. Now, this palace is something real special because it was left behind by these spiritual beings that no longer exist, but they essentially destroyed the world. And these beings were called Vanishers, hence the title of the story, In the Vanishers Palace. That is the title, yeah, So, in the Vanishers Palace. And the dragon Fukon essentially just took it as her own after they left. And so yeah, that's now where Yin lives, and it's also kind of her prison because the dragon forbade her from leaving. So that's the setting primarily of the story. So yeah. Now Yin, based on what she's heard about dragons and the whole exchange process, Yin expected Fukon to take Yin and kill her, or torture her, or some other, bad thing. But Fukon actually just wants Yin as, for Yin's scholar abilities. Because Fukon has a couple of kids, who are grown up. They're about teenager age, if I remember right. So, the two kids, by the way, you might hear my cat a little bit in the background. I hope you don't mind that. But yeah, Fukon has a couple of kids, and the two kids, they're twins, and I think the elder one is... Hold on, I gotta remember how to pronounce the name. Tom. That's right, the T and the H create a T sound, I think. Yeah, so I think it's Tom is the name, or how you say it. So there's Tom, and there's Lien, I think it was, and there's the name in text. So Tom, and Lien. And they're Fukon's kids. And the two of them are kinda, they like to explore the palace a lot, and, they're just kinda they get a little ahead of themselves sometimes of doing a little too much exploring or going beyond what they should. And so Faucon would like Yin to teach them some decorum and patience, and also like scholarly things like reading stories and such. So that's why Yin is there, to be a teacher to them. And I forgot to mention also, or I think I forgot to explain mentioning, the palace being, it's very mystical and very confusing. Or I mean, it's confusing to the main character. As I was reading it, I could like, just the amount of like the eloquent sentences, I could kind of understand what was happening, but a lot of it was like based in my feelings of like, oh wow, I would definitely be overwhelmed in this situation too. Because apparently the walls kind of flexed and moved and had like these hypnotic images, and shifting and changing scenes. So for that reason, Yin had to like keep looking at the floor to like not dizzy or nauseate herself. But yeah, the like Faucon and Don and Lien are used to the palace, but they also know that it's a little much for a human, so they try to be understanding of that when like guiding her through the palace. But yeah, I think that's kind of the premise, I would say. And really from there, it's a lot of shenanigans having to do with like Yin and Faucon learning to understand each other better. And also, the character growth is amazing. I especially love Faucon's growth of learning to just have a little less control over everything. Well, when I say everything, I mean like having a little less need for control over the people that she cares about, or the beings she cares about, to include her kids, you know? And so that was like a really neat journey to see, especially because it seemed very realistic of like a step forward, 2 steps back, a step forward, 2 steps back, when it came to like the character growth in different situations. But yeah, I think I really liked, those 4, oh, my cat's leaving. Okay. The 4 main characters were very compelling to me. Which character would I say is my favorite? I'm not even sure out of those 4. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards Don, maybe. Because the kids, their journey, it largely has to do with like a blend of knowing or learning their capabilities, because they're very powerful, but they're still growing up, so they don't know when to stop exactly when it comes to their capabilities and their powers. So they have to like learn a balance of like how to control that, and also well, actually no, I think that is their main struggle, is learning how to control their abilities for certain situations. Yeah, and I think that's all I'll say on that, because I think it would be going into too many specifics to go beyond that. But yeah, and then Yin, I really enjoyed her balance between she was very respectful in some situations, and then in other situations she was going, you know what, no, I'm not going to be respectful, like, no. And I was a big fan of how she balanced the two, because especially in the society, you could tell right away that respect is a huge deal to everybody in the society. So it's kind of a following that respect for Yin, even in a situation that she doesn't want to be in, it's interesting. I guess rules of respect. And it's not just because she's forced to, due to like her village would ostracize her otherwise. Like she's already what is she to the dragon? Well, her life is in the dragon's hands, right? So, and I mean, to a certain extent, it is about survival of like, she doesn't want to anger Faucon, the dragon, but also they get to a point of familiarity where Yin is like, she doesn't worry as much about, well, she does worry a little bit about disrespecting, but it's a little different. The balance shifts of going, of when she decides to be as respectful as she's supposed to be versus speaking her mind. And I think what I find interesting about that is she very early on speaks her mind. And I think part of it is because she thought she was going to die, but then she didn't, and then she continued speaking her mind in some situations where I went, you know what, that feels reasonable and also is admirable, because, yeah, some of her actions were definitely beyond the bravery level that I think I would have committed, you know? So, yeah, I thought that was really neat. Also, just like a little shout out to Yin's mother. I'm sorry I don't remember her name, but Yin's mother, I really liked how she was written, because she, not only did she like support Yin and trying to tell her daughter essentially like, hey, you need to consider yourself sometimes too, like don't just always consider me, you know, I'm old, you're not, you be young, okay? Now also, I won't like divulge a lot about the romance because I feel like that's something you just have to read, but I did really enjoy, like I'm just gonna say I really enjoyed the romance between Yin and Faucon. Yeah. Okay, wait. I will say they were really good about like learning about each other and learning about each other's boundaries, emotionally especially, like physically too, but the emotional ones really got to me because that was, that felt like, that just felt so, well, so heartfelt between the two of them as they learn more about each other, and just learn, not only having a sort of mild respect for each other, but their admiration for each other growing, and also their care for each other, and that being especially expressed through how they listen to each other and take into account each other's words. Now that's a journey that they kind of go on for the entire novel. It's not easy, but I really love that. So yeah. And okay, so that's all I'll say about the romance part. And as for representation also, in particular, I really enjoyed that the entire cast is Vietnamese, and so I get to hopefully try to learn how to say Vietnamese names. I feel like that's an odd little gap in my reading. I feel like I haven't read many books where Vietnamese characters show up, now that I think about it. I guess I'll have to find some more. But yeah, because I always like learning more about people, and I think books are especially fiction books, are a really great way to introduce readers to so many people of so many different identities, because you're not going to hurt the character. Like, say for example, I always tell people when it comes to my trans characters, or my characters with, well, I mean that's trans too, but characters with neopronouns, you're not going to hurt my characters if you slip up and accidentally use the wrong pronoun for them, right? You might hurt somebody though in actuality if you do that for an actual person. So guess I highly encourage you to try using the correct pronouns for my trans characters, and so that you can use the correct pronouns and be able to shift pronouns for people you knew, say, as one name and with one set of pronouns, to a new name and a new set of pronouns. So I think fiction is representation in fiction is super important, so that you can learn about people without hurting actual people by asking questions that might be too personal, or rather, by figuring out information from fiction that might otherwise be a little too personal to ask about, for example, or maybe they're just too tired of answering the question. There are some questions like that. So that's why I find representation in fiction is super, super important. Or at least that's one of the many reasons why. When you're, say, outside of the group that is being represented. So yeah, that's why I'm I need to read more books with Vietnamese characters. Because I was super surprised that I just went, I do not have any idea how to pronounce these names. Even with, I have some basis for at least Chinese names, because I have some Chinese friends, and so I know a little bit on the pronunciation of some names, but Vietnamese names, I just went, I don't know. So that means there's a gap in my knowledge, and I am interested in filling that gap. So, and I mean, I'm not ever going to learn about everything. I'm not going to be able to learn about everything and everyone, but I can at least do my best, because I think it feels really horrible to be othered and ostracized, and so I want to, as best as I can, at least be able to say people's names correctly, It just seems horrible to have to just deal with your names being anglicized, because that's the norm in America, and that's... Sorry, I'm speaking as someone from America. I don't know how it is around the world, if it's similar. I just mean, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in America, where it is very much, a lot of people judge you if you don't speak English, or if you don't anglicize your name, or if you don't change your name completely to sound like a more Englishy friendly name. Just that kind of environment is just, it's sucky, No one should have to change their name because other people can't be bothered to learn how to pronounce it, So anyway, that's why I try to do my best to learn how to pronounce names. And, character names is a good way for me to practice that, because I won't hurt the characters doing that. Although, to be fair, I'm also doing it kind of publicly via a video, so I really hope I don't hurt anybody by potentially mispronouncing your name if your name matches one of these characters. And if I am mispronouncing it, please let me know, because I do want to learn. Alright, I think that was a little more of a tangent than it maybe should have been. But yeah, I really enjoyed this story, and I really enjoyed seeing the names and trying to get the pronunciations in my head early on, because that was something different that I did in this reading versus last reading of Iron Widow. With Iron Widow, I was kind of reading it both times, not really, or both times I read it, I wasn't really focusing on pronouncing the names in my head, and as a result, I kind of got blindsided when I decided to do the video. I'm not sure I can say I got blindsided if I decided it, but anyway, I decided to do the video, and where I talked about the book, and I went, oh no, I don't know how to actually pronounce these names. But this time, going into the book, as I got introduced to each of the names, that's when I looked up how to pronounce them, and I went, okay, so I'm pretty sure this is Yin, I'm pretty sure this is Vucon, this is Ton, this is Lien. So I'm hoping that at least I'm memorizing those versions of how to pronounce them so that if I'm corrected, I can then at least tweak it from there. So I have more of a basis than just looking at the name and knowing how to spell it and having a vague idea of like, here's what the word looks like, but not having it in my head as something I'm like reading aloud in my head. And then, okay, what else? What else on the representation? Okay, I think I kind of mentioned it's a retelling of the Beauty and the Beast, but it's sapphic, so 2 lesbian leads. What else? Oh, I really loved the non-binary representation in the book. There were 2 characters, as far as I remember, who were non-binary. One of them was human, and the other was Tom. So Vukon's kid, or one of her kids. So I was like, oh, that's so cool, because not only like it was normalized. It was something that was normal, you know, because the human character was one of the elders, and they had like specifically like non-binary robes, if I remember right, and used like non-binary honorifics, and so it was just really, it was neat to see that, especially because the book would clarify when the words that were being used to like address each other as characters in dialogue, they would address when the words were gendered, so indicating like if one character addressed another with a feminine honorific, it would indicate, oh, okay, so this is a woman who is being talked to right now. And similar would go for non-binary characters. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Because, I mean, in English at least, there's not, in modern English, I don't know about older English, but there's not really a lot of non-binary honorifics that aren't, that there aren't a lot that are on the same level as like sir or ma'am. Because like there's your majesty, that's gender neutral, but that's not really, you don't say sir, ma'am, or your majesty. I mean, you can, but usually I feel like that's more something you use with non-binary people you are familiar with, you know, like your friends or acquaintances. There's not really a lot of honorifics that are like gender neutral for strangers in English. Because yeah, like your majesty is a little odd. Or I mean, it's a little too formal maybe for most people you don't know. Dude is a little too informal for did I say formal? Your majesty is a little too formal for most people you don't know. Dude is like a little too informal, and that is if you consider it gender neutral. I think a lot of people do. But yeah, what else? There's, anyway, you can think on that if you know any stranger-friendly, non-binary ways of addressing people with respect. But yeah, this book just kind of, it normalizes it, and I love that. And it's including a human character who uses it, and also a main character who uses it. 2 different characters. But just to clarify that it's just a normal part of nature. It feels more like that to me when it's like across different species, and I think that's just so neat. Yeah. And it may be biasing me a little bit too towards calling Ton my favorite character, just because they use they them pronouns, and I do too. So I will pay more attention to characters who use they them pronouns, and usually there's like 1 in a book that I read at a time. So this is already unique in that there were 2 non-binary characters who use they them pronouns. At least 2. I'm not sure if I'm forgetting somebody who's maybe, I think I only remember 2 in this book. But anyway, so it's really fun to me when I find books that have multiple non-binary characters. Me, I tend to write a lot of non-binary characters into every story I write, so it's just fun to see more than one pop up. But it's also just fun to see at least one, or see one, because like I appreciate even like a side character who is one. And I read a book. I'm not gonna say how recently it is. I read a book where it was a thriller book, and out of like a lot of people, one of the non-binary character was one of the people who survived, so I was like super happy about that. I was like, yes, I was rooting for you. So yes, I appreciate the non-binary, especially they them representation anytime I see it. So yeah, I appreciated that in this book, especially that there were two characters. So there's that. I had a note in my notes. I write up reviews for different places. I write it for Goodreads, I write it for Amazon if I got it from Kindle. Actually, I thought I heard like the other day that I could leave an Amazon rating for books that I didn't buy on Amazon, and I'm gonna look into that so that I can help out there if that's doable. But yeah, Goodreads, Amazon, Threads, Instagram, occasionally TikTok. I haven't figured out how to really make a consistent good review post on there for like a single book at a time, so I might do like multiple books at a time to get that to work. But I think I have to read a little bit more this year to get enough of a repertoire to say like, here's books of this genre that you should read. Anyway though, those, and also YouTube here. So I'll have a few different formats, but I usually use my Instagram notes to be able to like just kind of glance at as I'm making these videos. So yeah, I'm glancing at them now, and I did have some notes on like mentioning how neat the world building was. I think I already kind of said that the world became ruined, and it was due to the Vanishers, which, if you might remember, they built the palace that Foucault now lives in. And that's why the palace is all weird and shifting all the time and stuff. And I also love that it's kind of reflected in the cover with like it's got kind of the scaliness of the dragon, but it also has sort of like shifting-y vibes of light and dark and stuff. So that's cool. But I think a lot of the world building related stuff and the descriptions of the palace are really just stuff you have to read, because it's in order to understand just how impactful it is on the story, and just the vibes of how everything is described really set me in the position of Yin, really putting me in an outsider position of I am a human entering this mystical, shape-shifting-esque sort of palace that is very nauseating and confusing. Did I say nauseating? That's new. Nauseating and confusing. Nauseating. So the palace is very nauseating. So, and it really reads through with the language, and just, it has a certain amount of like eloquence, and what's going on is it's kind of confusing, but in a really good way, to me at least. I was like going, okay, I think I understand what's going on, but I'm like kind of hanging on by a thread in some parts. But I think you're supposed to be, based on how Yin is feeling. And then it releases the tension at just the right moment, I feel like, of like going, oh, okay. Those paragraphs felt like, whoa. But now I'm like, okay, I'm back where Yin is feeling now, of like going, okay, stabilizing ourselves now, getting a hold of our minds again. So it's just really neat that the book kind of guides you through that state of like, and then, oh, okay, we're fine now. And that was kind of why I wanted to do to open this video the way I did, with the kind of guided, I'm not sure what it's called, if it's like a guided meditation or if it's just like it's an exercise to kind of calm you and to relax you, I wanted to I just was reminded of that, and it's just fun that happened to be my previous therapy session and also what I just read, I felt like the two kind of connect pretty well. So yeah, I hope that was enjoyable for you, by the way. It was enjoyable for me. I almost dazed out, and then I went, I gotta keep talking. I'm pleasantly surprised too. I think I got that in one take, with the exception of, I don't know if I'll leave this in there, but at the very beginning, my cat jumped up on the bed, so I redid the beginning. But other than that, yeah. Alright, I think that's all I have to say about it. At least about the book itself. I was really happy to be recommended this. I was also really happy to feel in the mood of reading this too. Because I wasn't super sure about what book to read next, but I posted Iron Widow, my review for that, the video I covered last week. I posted that on Threads, and somebody responded with this book as a suggestion based on me liking Iron Widow. And also, I highly recommend you check out the person who suggested it is a book reviewer, and they gave my book its first review. So super happy about that in of itself. And also, they just he makes really good review content. So if you want to check out his website, I'll put the link here and also in the description as well. Cause you have him to thank for this video, cause I wouldn't have known about this book otherwise, you know. I had not heard of this book at all, and I'm surprised that I haven't, because I feel like I should have known about this book sooner, especially because it seems like the kind of stuff that I definitely enjoy, and so I feel like I should have seen this online somewhere, but I didn't, so I'm really happy that I got recommended it. And yeah, also just another point to show that, or you can also take from this that marketing helps, especially word of mouth. There's only so much the author can do about marketing their book themselves, because people are more likely to trust other people besides the author, because of course the author's going to like their own book, you know? So that's why reviews are super important, and that's why I like to do this, you know? I like to talk about books, partially for my own amusement, but also because I really like uplifting books that I really love. And so I'm hoping that me talking to you about these books can either relax you or amuse you or help you find your next read, you know? So, yeah. And either way, it's more exposure for the books, so hopefully even the thumbnails popping up here and there will help people to kind of go, I remember that book, maybe I'll check it out. So, there's that too. Alright, so I think I'll let you go. Did I already say that? I'm sorry if I did. I actually mean it this time. So thank you so much for watching, and for allowing me to ramble at you about this book that I really enjoyed. So if this sounds like something you'd like to read, I highly recommend you check it out. And regardless, I hope that whatever you do next, you have fun doing it, or at least that it's worthwhile, meaningful, you know. And yeah, wherever you're going, whatever time it is, day, night, whenever, wherever, just